Right, on today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Waxwork Records collection of Friday the 13th, and that's part 1 to part 8. Now, 9 and 10 were meant to be coming out by Death Waltz and Mondo, and obviously Death Waltz went, and that kind of didn't see the light of day. They did release Freddy vs. Jason, but that one's not for me, man. I think, as far as Friday the 13th scores go, unless Waxwork get the license for 9 and 10, in which case I would grab them to complete the Waxwork set. But if Mondo end up putting them out, I'll probably pass on 9 and 10 as well, to be honest, because a lot of these scores do sound the same. As releases, these are fantastic, as you'll see. But as scores, I don't really think you need to grab the whole set. I personally grabbed, the ones I actually wanted to grab were 1, 2, 3, and 8. And then I think like 5 went on sale or something, so I grabbed that. And then by that point, I just grabbed the other 3 just to complete the set. But yeah, the in-between scores, I don't really listen to too much, to be honest. I'm going to be fair. Like, yeah, they don't make it onto the turntable. I think part 3 and part 8 are my most listened to Friday scores. But yeah, let's take a look at the releases anyway, because scores aside, the releases of them are fantastic. And we'll start, obviously, with Friday the 13th part 1. And this artwork was done by Jay Shaw. And I've got to be honest, while I do like the cover, it's sick. I don't really think it screams Friday the 13th though. And then I think that's better. And I also think that is better as well. So yeah, as far as the front cover goes, it doesn't really fit the vibe of the film too much. But that aside, like, the artwork itself is nice. However, that monstrosity is not. That is not a good print at all. And my variant, I got a repress, which was this, which is absolutely stunning, and I have a massive hair on mine. There we go. So you got that, and then that. And yeah, I think this was the 3rd repress, because they had the original, which was like murky green, and then they had the campfire orange one, and then they repressed this for the 3rd time. And because I was planning on getting the rest of the set, I picked this one up. The original score is iconic, but as far as the films go, part 1 isn't my favourite at all. It was never meant to have sequels, obviously, and I think that shows because it's so vastly different to the others. It's kind of like a giallo, like, well, it's a whodunit, innit? Let's be honest, you don't know anything. So yeah, Friday the 13th part 1 isn't my favourite because obviously Jason, it is the series in it. Let's be honest. But the score to part 1 is phenomenal. And yeah, that's that release. Right, next up is Friday the 13th part 2, and I actually love this artwork. This is by Rich Kelly. You've got that, and then you've got that, which is the iconic scene. I fucking love that scene in part 2. One of my favourite looks of Jason is Sackhead Jason. I think it's so intimidating and such a great look for Jason. Obviously the hockey mask is iconic, but that sack over his head just looks menacing, man. It's a really good look. And this was actually the first record I ever bought, and it was purely, I had the part 2 sideshow release, and I just wanted to display that behind it, and I paid like £8 for it, I think. And that was my first ever record, and it wasn't meant to start collecting records by any means. You get that. This was literally just cool artwork to display behind the picture, and obviously it got out of hand, obviously, as it usually does. And then you've got that dust jacket, and this release is battered, man. This is the first pressing, and you have that, which, yeah, man, that's a really nice variant. Right, next up we have Friday the 13th part 3 3D, which the artwork is done by Ghoulish Gary, and this release is absolutely stunning. Starting off with the lenticular front cover, which I'm not sure if that's picking that up. I'm pretty sure at some point it'll hit it. You'll see it. But yeah, man, that's such an amazing front cover, which Ghoulish Gary doesn't ever miss, really, does he? Then you've got that back cover, which again, man, it's absolutely stunning. And then you have unmasked Jason holding the head, which I really like the addition of the film cell border on that gatefold. I think that's a nice touch, man. But part 3 is probably my most watched Friday the 13th. I grew up watching this, like, This was the first Friday the 13th I've seen, and I had it on DVD, and I'm pretty sure I just used to watch this before I went to sleep. This is one of my comfort films, really. So this is hands down the film I've seen most in the Friday series, and honestly, like, everything about it is just nostalgic. But I watched it in 3D, and the moments they've chose to put in 3D are fucking ridiculous. The main one that stands out is the yo-yo, the shot of, like, from below the yo-yo, so that the yo-yo obviously comes out, and also all the kills are geared towards it being in 3D, as you'd expect, but they don't really work. In 3D, as a 3D film, it's fucking dreadful. It doesn't work whatsoever. But I fucking love part 3 so much. The score is outstanding. The disco theme is my favourite piece of Friday the 13th music. I fucking adore it. It's got some iconic kills in it. Shelley is up there with Franklin as the most annoying horror character ever. He's fucking so... He's such a cry-ass, it's pathetic, mate. You can't wait for him to get killed. And obviously, he's the reason Jason ends up with the hockey mask. So he's plays a massive part in the Friday the 13th series, and the Jason look as well. And the unmasked part 3 Jason, I mean, that moment at the end where he's hanging and he lifts his mask up is like, that's one of my favourite Friday the 13th moments as well. This has got so many nostalgic, iconic moments for me. I fucking adore this film so much. And it's always a toss-up between part 3 and part 8. But I think, honestly, I think part 3 has got to, purely for the nostalgia, and it is actually a better film than part 8. Like, I love the look of part 8, I love the score of part 8, I actually really do enjoy part 8, not just to be contrary, just because everyone hates it, because everyone does hate part 8. But I do think it's a good film, but part 3 is actually, as far as following the formula for a solid Friday the 13th, I think part 3 is the perfect Friday the 13th film. But yeah, absolutely outstanding release. And I've just realised I haven't even showed the records because I've just been banging on about the film. So the records do not disappoint either, because you've got that, which absolutely glorious, mate. Obviously, the blue and red it's blood splatter, but it's also the 3D glasses, and just the same for both discs. But this was when Waxwork released this. I'd only just started collecting records, I think, and this was the first Friday the 13th. It's obviously a bought part 2, but I didn't listen to scores at that point. It was just to display the artwork. This was the first Friday the 13th that I was really excited to grab as well, because, like, I was never really too bothered about part 1, but I was just waiting for them to release this, and it did not disappoint. This was one of my favourite Waxwork record releases as well. It's just glorious in every way. They've done the film justice. I fucking love, as I've said, I fucking love part 3, and this release is up there with Waxwork's best as well. It's just, it panned out perfectly for this release for me personally. But yeah, Friday the 13th part 3, which is in 3D, and the 3D is dog shit. Next up, we have the final chapter, and artwork wise, let me just check. Christie and Bravery. I've never seen their artwork either, but that's got nice spot gloss in it. They've gone iconic with that in it. Let's be honest, like that's such a good front cover. That cover, like the knife going into the hockey mask, is so nostalgic for me. And then you've got that, which is great artwork, and then just all the cast with Jason, which, yeah, man, that's a really nice gatefold. And this is one of them that doesn't really get onto the turntable too much. I've got to be honest, a lot of the Friday the 13th don't get it onto the turntable too much, really, for me. Even though I've got the whole set, obviously, get a 12 by 12 of that. But yeah, like I say, a lot of these scores are very, very samey. This was a repress, and mate, this variant is stunning. And yeah, Waxwork that's what Waxwork are doing now. They're repressing a hell of a lot. But yeah, I was happy with this repress because I think this is nicer than the first pressing, to be honest. And then you've got that label there. So yeah, man, it's a nice release, as they all are, because Waxwork don't really do too much wrong. Right, this is Friday the 13th Part 5, and the artwork is done by Matt Ryan Tobin. And this artwork and this release is absolutely stunning. And this music actually, that gatefold's unbelievable, by the way. The score to this actually is a little bit different. It's a lot of it's quite dream-like. It's quite a weird score for Friday the 13th, and I was happy when I put this on because I threw it on, obviously, when I got it, and yeah, man, it was a little bit more different than I did remember, and the variant of this as well. This is the latest repress because, oh, mate, that record is absolutely ridiculous, mate. Absolutely ridiculous. It's a dusty one, that, mate. Jesus. And the white part of that record looks so much better on C&D. But yeah, man, this is a film that obviously I didn't like for a long time because of the Roy thing. But when you watch it, firstly, that's like the last 2 minutes that you find out that it's not Jason. Spoiler, obviously. They find out it's not Jason. That's like the last 2 minutes, and the rest of the film does actually play like a Friday the 13th. So I don't know why I didn't like it at all. It was kind of like fucking the Season of the Witch thing. If it's not Jason, it's shit, and that's such a shit mentality to have. But yeah, like when you actually watch this actually plays pretty well as a Friday the 13th. It's actually a good film. So I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, to be honest, because yeah, man, this is one that I do tend to throw on quite regularly now because I haven't watched it so much, and it's a banger, man. It's such a fun film. But yeah, Friday the 13th Part 5. Part 6, Jason Lives, which the artwork is done by Ghoulish Gary Pullen again. And this is such a clever cover. Obviously, you've got the lightning strike making out the Jason mask. And then you've got that, which is Jason on the bottom of the lake. And then that, mate, is absolutely outrageous. That is a stunning gatefold, which Ghoulish Gary, his artwork is absolutely gorgeous, man. I fucking love Ghoulish Gary's artwork. These variants are absolutely stunning, man. Which I think I've said that a lot because everything I've picked up is amazing, really. But this one, it's outrageous, mate. And then you've got, I love the fucking James Bond opening, and that is a perfect centre label, man. So good. That's side A and B. And then you have C and D. And again, this centre label, I mean, they couldn't have nailed this because you've got the James Bond opening and then you've got the smiley face on the tree, which that kills outstanding as well. So yeah, man, that's, as far as centre labels goes, that's up there for Waxwork. Like that's elite, man. Part 6 is so much fun, man. You can tell everyone's just having a good time on that film. Jason is so good. The chases between fucking Tommy and the busy. It's just a ridiculous film, and it's kind of like it's kind of like an action film. It's fucking ridiculous. It's not a Friday the 13th whatsoever. But yeah, Jason Lives is a lot of fun, man. So yeah, Part 6. Next up, this is my latest pickup, and it's the New Blood. And this was one that I had zero interest in picking up, to be honest. And the artwork is by Sarah Dech. You've got that. I will say the look of Part 7, Jason, is unbelievable, though. You've got, obviously, is her name Tina? Maybe it is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that. And then that's the gatefold, which is absolutely stunning. Get that 12 by 12, which that look of Jason's so good, man. He just looks completely zombie Jason at that point in the little break on the hockey mask where you can see like the teeth there. Such a good look, man. And then I can't even remember what variant this is, you know. Oh, okay. So it's similar, very similar to Part 6, really. Then the centre label is the nails, which is quite cool. The psychic element to this is very strange. I think this is one of the worst. This is one of the worst Friday the 13th. I think personally, it's not a favourite of mine at all. I don't watch it too much. That's why it was the last score I picked up as well, because this literally was the completed set. Like, I had zero interest in owning this really, which the completest thing you get, you man. It's stupid, but it is a stunning variant as well. The purple looks really cool with the blue, but that's not really enough to buy a score usually. I would usually pass if it didn't have the other seven. There's not a chance I'd be holding this now, but it is what it is, man. And that centre label's glorious, like. But yeah, I haven't, as far as the film goes, I haven't got too much to say about Part 7. It's one of the weakest in the series. It's got its moments, but the psychic element's stupid. Yeah, man, it's not for me. I used to think Part 5 was the weakest, which is absolutely wild, because Part 5 is so much better than this as a film. But yeah, Friday the 13th, Part 7, the new blood. Right, and finally, we have Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, which is an absolute favourite of mine, regardless of what people say. I fucking love Part 8. Part 8 is so much fun. It's basically Jason on a cruise ship, in it. Let's be honest, he's in Manhattan or Canada for like 15 minutes, and the depiction of New York as well is so stereotypical, like dirty, grimy 80s New York. It's like a caricature in New York. It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, I do love Jason Takes Manhattan, and the look of Jason, like Soggy Jason, is hands down one of my favourites. It's a toss up between Part 3 and Part 8, and I just love how fucking soggy and wet and horrible he looks in Part 8. And this release as well it's up there with Waxwork's best release. They give such treatment to this film, man. It's ridiculous. And the artwork is by Anthony Petrie, and you've got that front cover, then you've got that back cover, which it's so clever, man. And then, just look at that. But I love like the subway line. Like you can see there, the subway line making Jason's face. There's like all the fucking the numbers are like New York subway signs. It's just such a well thought out and designed record. It's amazing. And then you've got that, which is the first dust cover, and this, you've got Jason looking out over Manhattan for that label, and then you've got the classic I Heart New York Jason thing, and that's like a sewer green, which is like such a nice colour, man. It's fucking amazing. And then you have hot pink, which is obviously very classic 80s, and you've got unmasked Soggy Jason there for that centre label, and you have subway line Jason mask, which again, man, every single detail of this release is thought out to perfection. It's an unbelievable release, and also this is a score I would recommend you grabbing, because it's not a stereotypical Harry Manfredini score, because it's not a Harry Manfredini score as far as I'm aware. Fred Mullen, yeah, and you can tell that it's gone a different direction. Like you can see that it's a different score, and it's not like he's dropped in bits of Friday the 13th. It's completely different. So I didn't really clock that watching the film. So when this turned up, I thought I'd just bought another Friday the 13th score, and it's actually a banger of a score. It's a great score, man. So I would highly recommend this. And also, the release itself is gorgeous. Everyone should own it, because it's a fantastic release. But yeah, that was Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan. This is hands down my favourite like franchise from the big franchises, basically, because I think you can put this up against, film for film, you can put this up against Halloween. I think it comfortably beats the Halloween sequels, no question. Hellraiser's not even up for debate, obviously. Chucky, nah. And Freddy loses it after Part 3. So as far as the big franchises, I think Friday the 13th comfortably takes it. And I didn't mention Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because let's be honest, the original's an absolute masterpiece. It's the greatest film ever made. But after that, every time I watch part 2, it gets a little bit worse, and everything else after that is an absolute shit show. So sadly, I can't back Leatherface in this debate, because he's not even anywhere close. It's probably the worst franchise. It's the best film, but it's probably the worst franchise for me. So yeah, most of the Fridays other than part 7, you can have so much fun with. There's plenty to like about Friday the 13th, and I just think it's hands down, comfortably, no question, the best franchise as a franchise. But yeah, nice one for checking the video out. If you did enjoy it, like and subscribe to the channel, share it around. That'd be massively appreciated. And yeah, happy Friday the 13th.